Welcome to my dream talks. Welcome to my dreams explanationy talkies. Yeah. Welcome to the class. So dreams themselves, they are filled of just images. And these images, sometimes they leave you as soon as you wake up. But for me, they stick with me forever. Like, I have another dream when I was young. And literally, I had this dream like 7 times. Like once or twice a year, but like for like 4 years. I was in the back my back patio porch, and then I was there, and then my dad came, and then he went down on his knee and he proposed to me. And I was like at the time when I was having these dreams, I was like 6 or 7 years old, and I in my dream was like, what? And then, what I did was I ran into the garage, which is connected to our patio, and then after that he followed me in there, and then I realized that it wasn't my dad, but it was his brother, which was my uncle, and then he just like grew like a mustache and beard, and then that's how I distinguish them. Like in real life they don't look anything similar, but somehow in my dream they were almost the exact same person or something, but like okay. And then what happened was I went to school the next day, and then after I came home. I came home, and then I told my mom, my uncle's trying to marry me. and then after that, my mom was like, oh dear, oh no, he must be so sad. He probably wants he probably wants like some company in his sad house or something. I basically went to bed that night, and then after that I went to school the next morning. Before I went to school, I was exiting the house to go to school, but then that's when my dad and my uncle stopped me, and I saw they were both there, and this is still my dream. And then after that, I screamed no to the uncle, but then he turned to my dad and tried and gave him the ring. But then my dad, he basically just like he crushed the ring in his hand, and then he turned to me, and then he gave me a big old hug, and then my head fit like in between his neck, like his neck grew like long. This is that was like one of the most distinguishing parts of the dream when it ends. And then he gives me this hug, and then he turns to like some kind of giraffe because my head fits underneath his neck, and then my head is just there. But like in real life that can't happen, because if I was like 7 years old, he's like over 6 foot, and if I was 7 years old, I wouldn't be anywhere that tall. But like. So my head fit into his neck, and then after that he said, oh, I'm so sorry, my uncle, he said, not my uncle, he's my brother. He said, my brother was acting, he was trying to get a role instead of something where he's like asking someone to marry him, and then he was trying to practice on you. And then I myself in my dream, like I was just like super confused. And then, but I remember I did feel happy that at least my dad was cleared up, that he made sense of it all or something. But that was a dream, and like imagine having that dream every year, and the fact is every time because I was young, that was like scary for me because like that was like a fear of mine. I was like, I never want to have that dream again. Mostly it was just kind of creepy, but in the way of like, you don't really know what you're gonna dream. So your brain makes up stuff. Technically the stuff is kind of made up throughout your memories, but like you don't know what your brain's gonna make of those memories. So that was a weird dream. Let me see, did I remember another dream I used to have? I have also this dream that I did actually write down and make it into like a story, and I put in that brain boozling story book that I made. But basically we used to have this giant fish. It was bigger than my hand. Like it was like my hand, and then like another half hand. It was like that long. and we had a fish tank in our kitchen, and yeah, my mom became obsessed with that fish in the way of like she spent so much time on it and then eventually died, and I kept on telling her, you shouldn't spend so much time on a fish that's only gonna last like a year, a year longer. But I mean, technically we had it for like maybe 4 or 5 years. I think we moved with it. I don't know, but the fact is that it didn't last long. So this fish, basically what happened was that in my dream, the fish died. And this was around the time it actually died. So it died like maybe like a month before, and then I had this dream. So like it died. But the thing was, it kept on flipping upside down. So in my dream, it flipped upside down. And then my mom, she started being like, oh my gosh, the fish is upside down. I need to flip it over. And then she went into like, she went downstairs into the basement to get like a spatula. And then she was like, I'm gonna get a spatula and I'm gonna go and like I don't know if she was even like flipping it over like a sausage or like a hamburger. Oh no. Okay, but the thing is, so that's what she would plan on doing. She went out to the basement to get a spatula. Maybe not a spatula. What is that thing called? Like you just flip a spatula. It's like a burger flipper. Oh, I don't know what those things are called. Okay, but the thing is, she went down and then I looked at the fish and I was like, I'm just gonna flip it over with my hands. So then I stuck my hands in, and then as soon as I grabbed onto the fish to like go like a woo, the fish, it basically, like I grabbed on, like I didn't grab, but like I wrapped my arm, my hands around it, and then the fish just like, was like, ah. It just like, as if I squeezed it and then it like when you squeeze something, it's slippery and then just like shoots out of your hand. Like I basically just did that and then it's like, and then it flopped, and then it went on the ground and it started just flopping around. And then the fish, I myself was like, oh. So I got my hands out and I started shaking them all over. And then the fish, I literally ran after it, and it was flopping all the way down to the steps where my mom was in the basement. So it flopped onto the steps to the top of the staircase, and then after that it was like started flopping down, and then at the very bottom, it caused like a big old wet puddle, and then basically it went like past the end of the staircase, and then my mom, she came out of whatever room she was in, and then she had her spatula, and then because the fish landed there, it was all wet, and then she slipped. She was like, oh, and then she, in her hand, she had a spatula, and she just had this bowl. And this bowl, I don't know, she was like thinking about flipping the fish or something, but she had this bowl and that spatula, and then she went, oh. What happened was that the bowl, it landed on the ground, and then it like had water there, and then the fish flopped into the bowl, and then my mom, she went and she like broke her neck or something on the ground, but like, and then I was standing on the top of the stairs, and I was like, and then what happened was that the fish landed into the bowl, but then the bowl, it wasn't filled with water. It was filled with like, it was like a cat. It was like a cat bowl. It was like a bowl that was meant for the cat, but like it was a big old bowl. It was like a giant bowl, and then it had milk inside. Because I don't really approve. I don't. You're not supposed to give cats milk, right? Because they don't normally digest that. It's like, okay, but basically it was a bowl, and then because my mom also really likes cats, so she has cats, but the fact that she had this bowl, and the bowl had milk in it, and then the fish flopped into the bowl, and then basically so the fish flopped in the bowl, and then the fish died inside of the milk bowl. Because I mean, you can't really filter that through your gills. And then after that, my mom, she was like, oh my leg, I broke my leg, I sprained my leg. And then I, at the top of the stairs, pick up the bowl, and I was like, the fish died. And then she was like, wow, fighting between her leg pain and then this bowl with her dead fish. And then what I did was I just went, because we had like a toilet in the basement, like a bathroom in the basement, and then I just took them, and I'm just like, dump. And I dumped it in the toilet bowl, and I just flushed it on down. And then inside the toilet bowl, the fish like flapped its tail once, and then I was like, it's already in there. But yeah, so like, it just was like, and then it just like went gushing down. And then That's basically what my dream was. I mean, technically I could extend it out from there if I just like went off from just fictional, which is not what actually happened, because my dream doesn't tell me anything else. But the fact is, like I could have been like, well, I went back out to my mom, and then I was like, I'm sorry about your fish, but now you're free. You don't have to keep on cleaning its tank every night. Now I'm gonna call the hospital. And then I go upstairs and I get the phone, and I'm just like, yeah, so I need you to hurry over here. My mom, she sprained her ankle. And then after that, the hospital comes, gets my mom, and then after that, then she goes into the room, and then they go ahead and give her that cast around her beautiful leg, mwah-cha. And then after that, my mom asked to go to the bathroom. I need to go to the bathroom. And then after that, what happens is that she goes to the bathroom, and then as she's on the toilet, before she sits down on the toilet, she's like, because the fish had migrated there through the sewers, and the fish, it was like flopping around into the toilet, and she's like, and with her sprained cast, and then she practically screams. The nurses come, and then they're like, oh no, are you okay? And then she's like, that's my fish. And then the nurses are like, oh no, we have a delusional lady. And then they're like, maybe we need to make sure she doesn't have a concussion. And then they usher her out of the bathroom. She's like, but I have to go to the bathroom. And they're like, oh, well, let's just see if you're okay first. Maybe she's also, lying about needing to go to the bathroom because she has a concussion. And then after that, they take her into the room, and then they're gonna like examine her brain to make sure that she doesn't have like a broken brain. They put like a spatula against her forehead, a metal spatula, and then it's cold as they put it against her forehead, and then they're like, oh, it's hot. Oh my gosh, she has a fever. No wonder her brain is very dysfunctional right now. And then after that, they take her back to her room, and then she pees in the bed because she did not make it in time. And then after the nurses, they come in, and then they see the wet sheets, and they're like, I guess you weren't lying. They're like, do you feel like you have a concussion? And the person says, no, that was my fish. My daughter flushed it. And then the nurses are like, huh, we've never had to deal with something like this before. And then after the nurses are like, do you want your fish? And then after she's like, oh, it's too painful. You can flush it again. And then after the nurses go and they flush it, and then the fish goes down into the sewers, out in the world, wherever they are, somewhere out in the world. And that's my story. Half dream, half made up. Made up on the fly. Here's how vivid I am at remembering my dream. So, I had a dream that I got an owl, and this owl, I think it was like a grayish owl with like maybe some pinky spots on it, but the owl itself, I wanted to get some stuff for the owl, so I went to the store, and then I found this area that had like these like popping out decorations. We actually went on the website of the store, and then there was like a map, and on the map had like the route to the owl supply area because pet stores totally have that. And then inside that area there was this leaf thing, and it was like you attach it to the edge of a cage, and then just like loops around, and it's like a little bowl, and it's made for the owl's water. And then the owl was almost treated like a bunny in the way that like it only had like a water thing, and then the food would be scattered around, which is not actually the case. An owl would need its food to be on like a bowl. But the other thing is that the owl would not be domesticated in that way, because the owl is a predator. You need live stuff to be delivered inside of a bowl. But okay. And then I remember the price of said leaf bowl. It was like $32 and some cents, maybe like $32.98. I remember that. And then all around, there was like a bunch of other things, but they were kind of like beach themed. So there was like a lifeguard decoration for the bird's cage, and it said like, owls draw lifeguards close or like lifeguards near, and I remember laughing at that in my dream, because that doesn't make any sense. But saying that like, if you get a dog, you'll get a lot of attention from everyone around you. Like even the lifeguard had like the special tag. The special tag was like, it was like a neon pastel-y minty green, and then it had like each like a quote on there with the price tag. And we're just some special brand that was selling those things. Of course, they were selling a little more expensive than everything else around it. Excuse me, but you're not allowed to fall asleep here. You're telling a dream. And I remember I got the leaf thingy, but I never really paid for anything. But I do remember looking around, and there was like a whole bunch of random stuff. There were like one aisle in the owl section that was like a bunch of sticks, but like these like long sticks with like a little pokey thingy at the end of it. I think it was like for cleaning like maybe poop out of the cage or something. But they were so long, and then they were just like on the shelves lined up like that, and then they were made so that you don't have to stick your hand inside the cage or any sort of thing. You just stick that thing in and you just go whoop when you pick up the thing, and then you take it out. But that was a weird thing. Okay, yeah, that's what I remember from my dream. So yeah. The vividness in dreaming more. Well, concluding from that, do I actually want to get an owl as a pet? No. No. I mean, a hamster would be better. The owl was kind of treated like a hamster in my dream, but no. An owl, the bird would be very squawky. Very, very squawky. Everyone was celebrating my win on making those tassels, and I was swimming inside of a pool, and in the pool I was swimming, and then I started swimming like a mermaid-ish, and then I was like having all these little kids who were like interested inside my Wii box and Wii the watermelon and all that. They were all cheering me on, and they were all like, yeah, you're so amazing, woohoo, on the sidelines. And then I was swimming like a mermaid, and then underneath me I think there was like a dog that was also swimming in the giant pool, but it was a giant pool. It was like big enough to have like 6 or 7 lanes, but I was only swimming in just one little pattern down the middle. Even in the stream, I was remembering my fear of a shark or alligator being in the pool, but I still swam. I just swam because I was more happy and excited than any sort of nervousness. Then on the other side, who would be there to surprise me but Victor Crumb from the Harry Potter, that dude. And he helped me out of the pool because the pool had a giant ledge. Well, actually, he didn't really help me out of the pool. I leapt out, dove down really deep, swim down, and then I went up into the air like a fish or like a dolphin leaping, and then I leapt on the other side, and then he was there kind of like to catch my hand so that I didn't fall when I plopped down on the other side. And then he released my hand, and I actually ended up plopping down. And the floor was kind of like as unstable as some sort of like gymnastics mat. Before me, Hermione went and swam from one side of the water to the next, and he helped her down as well. But for my congratulations, I think she did it because she was like, she got some award for also being like super smart or something, but my award was also being for super like smart, but also for like accomplishing my beautiful like box. And then there was just like a big cheering crowd, and then what is this? What trophy is shaped like this? It's like a building. It's a building with too many walls, too many shouted to everyone, like, this is the difference in how, like, and how people exit spaces. Yeah. And then I remember, like, before I went, I'm gonna be taking the biggest swim in my life. This is an amazing swim. But I want to get out. I might want to see myself, like, how I get out of the water. By the way, this is a sneak peek of my video. I gave my phone to someone, and then I was like, and the guy, and it was actually an old guy who was just standing in the back, and I was like, I pressed my phone on record and all that. I just need you to hold it, okay? Just hold it. And then I saw him nod, and then I saw the record thing go off for a second because he pressed the button accidentally, and then I restraightened the camera, and then I pressed the button again. I said, "Do not move, dude, okay?" And he nodded again, and then he tried to remain as stiff as possible. And then on the other end, when I arrived, he was there too. He just popped out of nowhere, and he was like some sort of, and he had like very cool glasses on now, and like had a cane, but like the cane wasn't like I can't walk cane. The cane was like a cool cane. Now just showing off, I guess. He expressed to everyone that this is the beautifulness of creation. He was like pointing at the tassels that I decorated the ceiling with. Like in real life, I decorated my ceiling with those tassels, but they were also decorated over top of the pool. And then he was like, if we do not cherish those who decorate around, then these decorations will all be forgotten. Everyone was like fascinated by those tassels, and I bowed. And yeah. And it took a while to make all those tassels. Indeed, in my dream I actually made all those tassels out of string. Waha. I mean, it does go to show that, like, if you make some sort of art thing, it can influence your dream or realm. So I had that last dream around the time I was actually making the Wii boxes, so that kind of makes sense. Yes, I am doing noodly work with this ponytail. Okay, and then we have, like, the one with my dad. I mean, I kind of had that dream when we first moved into this house, because I moved in it when we were younger, like around like 7. So, that could be part of it. But like, the place was new, and I was still getting like adjusted to my new settings of room. Things seemed different, like as if like the world I was living in was all different. That's kind of how it feels like you're living inside of a whole new world. Okay, and then the other one was, of course, around the time my fish died. Well, her fish, mom's fish. And yeah, so basically, your life is your dreams, and your dreams are your life. I mean, unless the dreams are the real life, and the real life is the dream. But yeah. And then the other one would be, what was the last? Oh yeah, the one about the owl. Well, a part of it is because I was having an idea for and then the other thing was like about a cage. In real life, the only animal I would ever consider having as a pet would be a hamster. And that gave me a hamster cage. There's the connection. Show. Yes. But then there's also the leaf. That leaf spout. Where did that come from? Well, I remember when I was younger, I did have a leaf toy that it was part of a squinkies? What are they called? It's just like, you could like press a button and it just like popped up their head and their body separated. It was like big old
foresty, magical fairylands. It's like literally, why were like all toys for girls magical foresty fairylands? Colorful cheetahs, but okay. But so that's what that was. And then part of one of the toys, it had like a little leaf, like one of their worlds had like a leaf thingy that you could go like up and down, or like it spun around, and then you put one of those like magnetic creatures on there, and then its head popped up, and then it's wandered around, and then basically that leaf thing looked like that. And so some of them actually had like they were connected between two trees, like they like looped around like that, and they made like a bed, and it was like that. And then this bed, it had like a space where you could put Mr. Dude, where his head would fit in. Actually, no, you would have to squeeze in their body first, because their head would be the most important part of that thing. That's the only memory I have of that. So, I don't have those, but not anymore. But it's a possibility. A very, very big possibility. I have just gotten paid.
So see you in the clouds. Kaomi out. Wow.